Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So a few days ago I put up a video where I paid artists on Fiverr to create a book cover for me. Now if you've seen that video, you know that the covers were, they left a little bit to be desired for sure. There was definitely one cover at least that used AI, but it's fine. I mean, it's totally not fine because I paid for those covers, and the way in which it would have been so easy to make the covers nice, those opportunities weren't taken, obviously. But in the middle of that video, while I was waiting for the artists on Fiverr to get back to me with their book covers, I actually got like the creative bug and I tried to create some covers on my own. And when I did finally get those covers back on Fiverr, I quickly realized that my covers were much better. And listen, I am not an artist. I do not have any proficiency in graphic design, but I know how to use Canva. So on Fiverr, they're called like gigs, and the gigs were like really cheap. Like I think the lowest one was $15. The second to the lowest was $20, and then the highest was $30. Now for these prices, listen, I have a $15 a month subscription to Canva. So the person I paid $15, if they could have used my or their previous customers $15 to get an account on Canva, and they could have been cooking up great stuff. But yeah, we move on. So when I was making the covers myself, I had some ideas in mind, and if you watch the last video, you'll know that I gave the artists on Fiverr some examples. Now I had those examples in my mind, but I wanted to gather more examples that I felt like I could do myself. And so I, thought about the books on my shelves, ones that I really like. My idea was to have something that was very minimal, because that's as much as I can achieve. And I also wanted it to be minimal because paying $15 to an artist on Fiverr, I didn't think they were going to give me something that was like groundbreaking. So I wanted them to be minimal, and I wanted to be minimal while I tried to make these covers. So for my covers, I took inspiration from these books. So I looked at Alphabetical Diaries by Sheila Heti. This is obviously a very, very simple kind of cover. It's just blue font and on a white background. Obviously you have to pick like the best font if you want it to be capitalized or not. I can get into like really minimal design, and so I really like this. I enjoy the look of it. And so this was in my mind. Another one that was in my mind, you'll definitely see like the influence of this book in some of the designs I'll show you. So I picked this one, which is also pretty simple. It's just text. This might be from like the editor. I don't know where this part of the text is coming from, but you have the title and then some text and then the editor author name at the bottom. And I like the look of this. It's very minimal, again, very sleek to me. And then I also was inspired by this cover. As you can see, again, it's just text on a maybe like off-white background, and the font, I really like how the font looks. Now you'll look at my covers and they don't all like look like this, of course, but like this is like the kind of minimalism I had in mind, just like something that is like visually nice, visually pleasing. It didn't have to be extravagant. So I don't know what happened for those Fiverr artists, because I also gave them examples of books that were very minimal. Like for instance, one of the covers I gave them was little blue envelopes. This is another kind of minimal design. I told them, and I'll tell you again, that the book I'm working on right now is an epistolary novel about this strained relationship between mother and child. So they could have put like an envelope or something, I don't know. But you see, just a simple monochrome background, nice font, and then a little bit of images. And they could have found images anywhere, like on Unsplash. Just find, images or little like clip art emoticons or something that's like free use. I don't know, but it's fine. because I made some of my own. And like I said, I kind of really dig them. So let me show you what I made. Okay, here's a short clip of me opening up Canva, going through a few templates, going into those templates, and playing around with the designs and fonts and everything like that. And as you can see, what you don't see is ChatGPT or any other AI, because you don't need AI when you have Canva at your disposal. Honestly, you could probably do the same thing in Microsoft Word. These are very, very simple book covers, people. Okay, let's get back to the video now. Now, technically, I would say that these are free because I made them myself for free. But, you know, I do have an account on Canva and I pay like $15 a month for that subscription. So we can say, like, we can compare it to the artist. I paid $15. They only gave me one design and I made 7 designs. So I got a lot more bang for my buck. But we can still try to see this as free. But if you don't want to, you know, that's fine. But let me show you. So this is the first cover. So you'll see that it very much looks like this. I was very much inspired by this cover. It's just, you know, the red font and a little bit of writing. I hand wrote out a passage from the book that I'm writing, and then you just have my name at the bottom. It's very simple. How do I feel about it? I think it's okay. I think it's totally fine. But it's workable. It's doable, and I definitely, even though this is kind of very simple, I definitely like it better than what I got from those Canva artists. So here is the next cover. Again, it's very much in the style of like these 2 books. For this cover, we just have my handwriting in the background, sort of like the transparency turned down. And then we have the font just like in the direct center middle of the book, and then my name at the bottom. I think this is definitely much more closer to looking like a nicer book cover. I would definitely go with this one over my first design, but I like this one. It's simple and it's fine. I like it. Okay, so for our next cover, this one, after I looked at it for a long time, I think it looks more like a poster, and that's fine. But again, it's definitely like inspired by this cover with like the font and everything. And instead of like being in the background, it's like towards the bottom, and you can really just see the full part of this letter that I have here. So I like it. I kind of like it more, like I said, as like a poster. I think it makes a really good poster. And I think this one is the only template I used on Canva you would actually have to pay for. So really, if we think about like what I spent on Canva, it would definitely just be for this one. And so if the options were like make this one or not, I would just not make this one and everything would be free. But I did make it, and this is what it looks like. I think it still looks really nice, but I just think it comes across more as a poster for me. Okay, next we have this cover, and I think again this one is giving more like poster feel, but I like how this one looks. It kind of like gives me like the idea of like a newspaper. And again, we have that part I wrote, but this time it's typed out in the back, and I just think it looks really, really nice. I think it's very sleek, so I like that. And then for these next few designs, this is kind of where we like depart from the inspiration of these books that I showed you. So I wanted to bring in an image, but I didn't know what kind of image I really wanted. I knew I wanted to like to sort of like have like mother-daughter, mother-child on the cover, but I didn't know where to get a photo. I didn't even know what like kind of photo to look for. And so I just started thinking about pictures that I have of me and my mom, especially me as like a child. And I was just like looking through old photos, and I found this one photo and I was like, this could work. I would just like blur out our faces. And so that I didn't feel like I was like using my family photos for this fictional book. Yeah, so that's what I did. So this is the cover I made for one. So here you have, this is like an old picture of me and my mom that I'm like using for this like image on the cover. And like I said, I blacked out our faces so you can't see our faces anymore. And yeah, I just really like the look of this. I like the look. I love when books have like photos on the cover. So this one really works for me. And I think out of like all the ones I showed you, this is where it starts to really look like a book cover for me. There's some that like, yeah, I think they could work, but this one definitely like it's giving book cover, you know? And then for this next design, this is where I thought like I really snapped. This is where I really thought I was doing my big one. So as you can see, it is like just, you know, one bold background color, this like reddish orange with the title to the side and my name also to the side on the other part of the book. And then again, here's the photo of me and my mom with our faces scratched out. And I just think it looks so nice. It's so eye-catching to me. Now, I wasn't inspired by these covers, but after I made this, I was kind of reminded of the cover of some other books I have. So for instance, like this book I have called W3 by Bette Howland is definitely like this kind of vibe. Full color, small photo, and then the title. And so I was reminded of this after I had like made this design. And I really, one of the reasons why I bought this book is because I love the cover of it so much. And so once I made this one, I was like, this is it. This is it. Now, the last cover I made is just another version of the previous one. I just did it in a different color. This is a more like light lavendery, I don't know, kind of purple, and I'm really into purple these days. So between the red and the purple, these would definitely be the ones I would pick for the book cover if I was like making it, printing it myself, or that I would send for inspiration to my editor and the designers at my publisher. But yeah, the red and purple version of this cover, it really just I really snapped with this one. And when you look at these two covers that I made versus the ones that I got on Canva, the differences are stark. And it's crazy to me because I think in all it took me maybe 2 to 3 hours, but like I don't even think it took me a whole 3 hours. But it definitely didn't take me long to make these covers, so it's crazy to me like what a Canva subscription could do for you. If I wanted to, I could really hop on to Fiverr, make an account, and start pumping out book covers, and I wouldn't have to use AI at all, you know? So yeah, these are the designs I made. Please tell me what you think of them in the comments below. If you like them, do you think they're better than the ones I got off of Fiverr? I had a lot of fun making them, and if you're working on a book too, I definitely suggest going on to Canva. You can use Canva for free and play around with some designs and just moving things around. But that's all from me. I hope you liked this video. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!